Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to make this drawstring top. If you want to know how it's done, stay tuned. So we're going to start by drafting our pattern, and take note that this pattern is going to be for stretch material. So I'm going to start by marking a straight line, which is going to be the shoulder line. Then I'm going to mark from shoulder to half of the armhole round, which is 9 inches for me. And then that line is going to serve as the chest line. Then you're going to measure from the shoulder to waist, which is 16 inches. I'm going to mark 16 inches, and then full length of the blouse. So my full length of the blouse is 20 inches. So right on the shoulder, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is going to be 8 inches. And then I am going to extend the line all the way to the chest line. The next thing is to implement quarter of a bust round circumference, subtract half of an inch. Because we are going to be using a stretch material, that's why I'm subtracting half an inch. Then you want to extend this line all the way to the full length of your blouse. Right on the waist, you want to go in by half an inch, and on the length, you want to go out by half of an inch also. Connect the 2 points, and then from the waist to the chest line. Now moving on to the shoulder line, I'm going to create a shoulder slope by marking half of an inch. Then from this 2 point, I'm going to mark a center line and go in by half of an inch. This is to create the armhole curve. Connect the 2 points with a straight line, and then from the chest line, you're going to mark a curved line. And then we're going to create an neck width, which is going to be 3.5 inches, and then create a shoulder slope. So guys, before we create the neckline, I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. So now I am going to extend the chest line on the right side of our front pattern. So then I'm just going to also highlight the points right on the armhole. So now what we need to do is to, close the pattern. From the neckline, I'm going to create a neck depth, which is going to be 5 inches. So my neck depth is going to be 5 inches. Connect this to the shoulder line. I'm going to open up my pattern, and then right on the armhole, in order to join it on the right side of the pattern, right on the armhole, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches and then connect the neckline also. And our off-shoulder neckline is complete. Now I'm going to take this pattern now. Before I cut out the neckline, we're going to take this pattern and trace out the back pattern, because the front pattern of this top is going to be cut into 2 pieces. So the back pattern needs to be 1 piece. Now I am going to extend the waistline, and from that waistline I'm going to mark 4.5 inches, which is to create a line to divide these 2 pieces together. And when you divide these 2 pieces, that's where we're going to join the drawstrings. Now we need to cut right on the center. So remember, we need to join these 2 pieces together again. So you need to add around 1 inch. So now we need to draft our sleeve. For the sleeve, I took my front pattern, and I'm going to carefully measure around the armhole, and it's 9 inches. So now I'm going to take a new pattern paper, and I'm going to first mark a guideline, which is going to be our starting point. Then before we draft the sleeve, we need to measure our cap's height, which is bust divided by 12. Mine is 3 inches. Then I am going to take that 9 inches around the armhole and place it in between these two lines. And draw a line across the two lines also. We need to find the center point of this 9 inch. And then we're going to start by marking a sleeve head, which is moving half an inch up. Then connect the 2 points. Then also at the bottom of this line, mark half of an inch. And our sleeve head is complete. Now for the length of my sleeve is going to be 7 inches plus half of an inch for hemming. Mark this line across the pattern paper. For the bicep round, you need to measure quarter of your bicep round, subtract half of an inch. This is because we are using a stretch material. And our sleeve is complete. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sleeve, and I'm going to also go and trace it out so that we will be able to cut out the sleeve for the right side of our pattern. So this sleeve is going to go for the left side, and for the right side, because it's an off shoulder, we need to go ahead now and measure the armhole on the right side of our pattern. So I'm going to measure the armhole, which is 2.5 inches, and I'm also going to mark 2.5 inch also onto my sleeve. Then mark a straight line across the pattern paper. And then we're going to cut out the sleeve head. And now our pattern is complete. Now I went ahead and cut out my pattern on fabric. As you can see, I've added 1 inch on both sides, and I'm using a lightweight scuba fabric, and these are going to be my bias, of which I'm going to connect it or sew them on the neckline. So at this point, we want to join the back panel piece and the front panel piece together right on the shoulder. Then I'm going to take my side front piece and I'm going to join it right on the side and take it into the sewing machine and sew a straight stitch, or I'm going to be using a serger. Then the next thing is to take your sleeve also and sew them right on the side. Once we are done sewing our sleeve, I went ahead and I transferred the notch. So I'm going to turn my sleeve on the right side. I'm going to also open up my t-shirt, and I'm going to join the sleeve and the t-shirt on the seam, right sides facing. Make sure that you pin around the armhole and sew a straight stitch. Also onto the other side, turn the sleeve right side, join it right on the seam. As you can see, I'm joining the seam, and I'm going to go ahead, adjust the sleeve onto the armhole, and then take this to the sewing machine and sew a straight stitch. So guys, once we are done attaching the sleeves onto a t-shirt, it's time for us to attach the bias around the neckline, okay? Just all around to the other side. So I am going to attach my bias, and I'm making sure that my t-shirt is the wrong side facing, so that we'll be able to turn the bias on the correct side of our t-shirt. Now this is how it looks once I've sewn it. So what I need to do is to fold the bias half an inch seam, and then push the seam on the inside so that it can be covered in between the bias. Then you want to take it to the sewing machine and sew a straight stitch right on the edge. And there we go, guys. This is how it turned out. I hope you guys can see. So now we need to join the seam, the front panels together, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and sew in 1-inch seam right on the side. So there we go, guys. I'm going to go ahead now and open up this 2 seam, as you can see, and sew right on the edge so that we'll be able to create a casing. So I'm going to sew these 2 right on the edge. So the casing is formed, as you can see, right on the front. I'm going to take my strap and pass them through one of the casing. So guys, we need to create an opening right on the casing at the bottom. This is the bottom hemming. We need to hem it twice like I'm showing you. So once it's hemmed, it will be difficult for us to pass the strip. So that is why we need to open up a little bit of an opening. I'm going to cut an opening so that we'll be able to pass through our strip. And I'm also going to open up a tiny hole right on the casing, and make sure that this hole doesn't show on the right side of the fabric. So there we go, guys. The strap is coming out, and this is how it will look. Okay, so now we need to attach the strap on the shoulder right at the back and sew a straight stitch. So guys, I went ahead and I attached another strip. The only thing that is left for us is to hem the sleeve and also the bottom, and I'll show you how it turned out. And there we go, guys, the final results. I really love this t-shirt, the way it turned out, and I hope you guys will enjoy making this project as much as I did. As for me, guys, see you on the next one.